different way to do this, and we're going to see if this works. All right, no black box. Now let's just see if anybody shows up, can we? Chat should be enabled. Let's see if we got chat enabled. Live chat. So, anybody? All right, people. In theory, we've got us a live feed. Might be really nice if anyone shows up to this live feed, but we have a live feed. So let's see what happens. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and I am live without a black box on my face. I am attempting a completely different method of going live. We're going to see whether or not this works. You know what's unfortunate is we're live and there is nobody. I have one person watching. Oh, I think that one person is me. Let's see here, people. All right, I've got a couple of people in here. Okay, everybody, if I could get some comments from some individuals to let me know that I have people here. The live chat should be enabled. So people, if I could get somebody to tell me that, there we go. Hello. Hello, now we've got a couple of people coming in. I don't have a black box on my face and I am doing this without Streamlabs. So hopefully people, this actually works. Let's try this again, shall we? All right, people. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and this is the lifeboat. Anyone who is in here, if you pop back over and let people know that you're the people on the other live stream, if you want to pop back in there and leave them a message, tell them to get off that live stream and come here. Mark Wages, if you're here, feel free to turn off those other live streams if that's at all possible. People are showing up. Let's just hang out and let's see what happens. So we've got some people. Okay, and there's no black box. So maybe that's a sign that this is going to work. What do you think, people? I actually bypassed the software and I went directly to do this through YouTube. I've never done this before. This is a completely different way to do this. And hopefully the people who are over chatting on the other live feed will get this figured out. Right? That would be ideal. So hang in there, people. We're just going to give a minute or two for the rest of the people over there. Here the numbers are starting to go up. Okay, people. So let's get back to where I was at. It was a drama-filled day here at the lifeboat. As I was saying before we got so rudely interrupted by the great people at Streamlabs, on the beginning of yesterday's live feed, I bent down. When I did, a gentleman who you all know, who watches every video in spite of the fact that he says he doesn't, saw an opportunity to jump on this and claim that I was down there sniffing something. This is somebody that is just hopelessly preoccupied with the fact that he's not been particularly successful. I'm just being honest, people. He's got a YouTube channel that started out as a pepper channel, but the man doesn't do challenges, which kind of put that in jeopardy. Then he moved into a channel that was going to be on sobriety. That didn't really work out for him. And he traded all that in for a product that is negativity. Absolutely, no lie, negativity. I'm not the first victim. Since the lifeboat has opened, I think I'm the sixth. But what he found is that when he goes negative, he gets some views. So he has chosen to tell the world that I was doing drugs on a live feed, which is really kind of humorous if you think about it, people, because number one, my probation officer watches my channel. But more importantly, people, I drug test randomly up to 20 times a month is the max that they can drug test me in 1 month. But it ends up being several times a week at a minimum. And you never know when that is going to come. But according to this gentleman, yesterday I was in the process of using. I'm putting this to bed right now, people, right? This is it. After this, I assure you, I'm never going to speak about this person again. But what caused the drama was a couple of people who chimed in to say, in spite of the fact that what's going on, I really am going to support both of you. I want to make this very clear. I said to that individual, there's no supporting both of us. It's not possible. I do videos here that are based on positive, and I've done videos with titles like Words Mean Things. Do you know what the word subscribe means, people? Have you ever heard the term when used as someone would say, I don't subscribe to that point of view? When you subscribe to a channel, you are saying, I agree with what this channel does. So to support somebody who has said out loud that his mission is to try to destroy the boat, if you want to do that, I absolutely give you my blessing to support this individual. But get off of the boat. No disrespect, but it is remarkably hypocritical to say, I'm going to support that channel, but I'm a crew member on this boat. Those are so incongruous that they simply cannot go hand in hand. Now, the vast majority of people have said, have reached out to me and said, I'm done with this dude. And that's unfortunate too, because it didn't need to happen. But unfortunately, his product is hate. Now, here's what we're going to do, people. I would like everybody to get an idea of what it is to be me. So as I have been really forthcoming with everyone involved with the channel, I am on federal probation, right? I'm a convicted bank robber, and I was also convicted of selling guns illegally. For that, I am on what they call paper. What this means is that I'm on federal probation. When you're on federal probation, you get drug tested often, right? Now let me tell you how this works. I dial this number. You'll hear it. If I can put this on speaker.
U.S. Probation Office in the District of Nevada. To continue in English, please press 1 now.
We're going to go with English.
With your telephone keypad, please enter your client ID number.
This is something that I have to do every single night after 7 o'clock. So I will enter my client ID number. Now.
You entered.
I don't want you hearing the entire number because it's part of my social.
Please press 1.
It is
If
correct.
This is not correct. You are required to report to your designated testing location on Friday, October 1st, between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Did you guys hear that?
Instructions again. Please press 1.
Just in case.
You are required to report to your designated testing location on Friday, October 1st, between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. to hear these instructions again.
All right, people, let me explain to you how the whole drug thing works. Apparently, he says I was snorting a powder. So let's go over the powders that one might snort. What comes to mind would be methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, although in this part of the country, heroin would be primarily tar, not powdered. But let's just say heroin as well. Those would probably be the big three in terms of snortables. All of them will stay in your system testable for 72 hours. Now, if you do a lot, it may go a little bit longer than that, but 72 hours is considered the gold standard for how long this will remain testable in your urine. When I go down there tomorrow, I will be asked to drop my pants to my ankles and stand like a child does when he urinates. That's part of the deal, to make sure you're not carrying a device. Then what they will do is take an eyedropper. They will pick up a small amount of the urine and they will drop it onto something to test for specific gravity. What this does is it tests the amount of solids in the urine. This is to ensure that somebody doesn't drink a gallon of water as a way to try to beat the test. Then what will happen is 32 panels on the test, meaning there are 32 different things they're going to test for. If one of them comes up, they will then mail it off for a second test, which is gas chromatograph, where they are going to steam the urine, catch that gas, and they can literally tell you down to the 1/1,000,000th of a part if there's anything in your system. People, if I did drugs yesterday, the boat's coming to an end. At least with me as captain, the boat is coming to an end. It's astounding that I have to do this. It's astounding that I have to do this. I am not saying his name. I'm not making videos talking about him. But here's what I will leave you with, and then we're going to get on to our live feed and have some fun. But this is what I'm going to leave you with. I'm not talking about this guy ever again. It's not worth my time. People have a mission here. If you haven't got that, then you really haven't paid attention. But I'm dedicating the rest of my life to trying to help people get off drugs. I'm not using drugs while doing that. Okay, that being said, if you're comfortable over on that channel, then stay there. Then stay there. Because you're not a crew member here if you could be comfortable over there listening to the things he called you people effing sheep. More importantly, people, he films inside a car. I don't care where you film. I really don't. That's fine. But you must admit that a car is a very small enclosed place. He does it with a 5-year-old girl in there and uses an F-bomb every 5 seconds. I would like to believe that my crew could not watch that and feel good. Truthfully, I would like to feel that my crew would find that reprehensible. Maybe I don't know who my crew is. Because if you're over there and you're comfortable with that, I don't get it. And that's all I have to say about that, people. The rest of it, he's going to sell hate. It's his product. The nice thing is, it'll get you a few views, but it won't keep you in business. He's going to be gone. And the reason he sells hates is because he can't buy views. Can't get them any other way. Do you know why we have views, people? Because of the beautiful, beautiful people here. Deja Moore's letter, and now we're done with all of that. Deja, the courage that it took to write that letter, this is yours. People, if you did not catch the last video, if you had not heard what Deja Moore wrote, you really, really need to. I'm telling you, people. And take the time in the comment section to tell her that you realize the courage that it took. We live in a society where to say I'm addicted to pornography is something that not too many men would feel comfortable doing, but no woman would. She didn't do that for any other reason other than the fact that she thought her story would help other people. That's my crew. Do you understand? That's my crew. Yeah. Saigon Cinnamon's letter yesterday. That's my crew. Andrew Eats, his letter. That's my crew. That's my crew, right? That's what we're here for, people. We're here to celebrate the victories of people overcoming drugs. We're here to put a hand out, right? We're not here to spit on people. We're not here to pick on people. And we're not here to create drama for the sake of getting clicks. We don't need it. Today, we celebrated our 2-month birthday, just shy of 35,000 views, right? Wow. We have almost monetized in 60 days. Might take us 65. Who cares? The point is we're about to have a partner called YouTube who is going to get this message to the world. It's funny how people will mention the things that are important to them. They may cloak it and say things like, well, I really don't care if she dates another guy. You can pretty much bet the farm that they do not want her dating another guy, right? I don't even care if you don't want to take the car. Trust me, they want to take the car. Am I telling you anything that's like rocket science? You know this, right? You watch the videos, he says, I don't care that I got 130 people. I'm cool with that. I don't care that I'm never going to monetize. I'm not going to put the effort in to do that. He's made twice as many videos as I am. He's put the effort in. Hate doesn't sell. What we have here sells because it's beautiful, not because of me, people. You could get rid of me. You really could. I'm not what this is about. It's about you. It really is. It's about you. It's about Deja Moore. It's about Saigon Cinnamon. It's about Andrew Eats. And it's about 30 other letters that you people are going to be hearing. It's the reason that we are growing like a weed. It's the reason that in 60 days, we're just under 1,500 people on this boat. People, we are affecting the world. We're leaving the earth a better place than we found it. Can you think of anything cooler? Because if you can, tell me and I'd like to get involved in it. Straight up. If there's something out there that's leaving more of a mark in a positive way on this planet, sign me up. I'll follow you. I'll subscribe because I subscribe to that point of view. I subscribe to the concept of leaving the earth a better place than you find it. I don't subscribe to hate. And I do videos about garbage in, garbage out. Do you remember that video? Words matter. Do you remember that video? All of those videos, people, shape who we are. All of those videos tell you what it means to be a crew member on this boat. Those videos define who you are, right? The best of the best. I'm sorry, the best of the best, the cream of the crop. By the way, I didn't block any of those people that said that they want to go over there because I'm hoping they catch their snap. I'm not going to block them. But we have 4 rules here, people. Do you remember rule number 4? Say it with me. Mean people suck. He doesn't believe I was doing drugs. He doesn't. But this is his show, you know? He has a segment at the end of every show. I'm not going to tell you what the name of the segment is, people, but it's the FU of the day. That's not my crew. So if I sound harsh when I say, if you're over there, stay over there. Because you can't serve 2 masters if one of them is hate and one of them is love. Right? I mean, does this seem cut and dry? Am I being a jerk? You can't serve love and hate at the same time. Thank God you can't serve love and hate at the same time. Thank God. Would you want that? Really? Okay. A lot of you have reached out and said, I'm with you, okay? You're with you. Don't get it confused, people. But if he attacks the captain, he attacks the crew. And he's already attacked the crew. And I'll tell you something, I almost went nuts. I filmed the video to go at him. But Mark Wages and my brother Johnny and some cooler heads said to me, if you engage this thing, it's like putting milk on the back porch. I'm not talking about this fool ever again, people. This goes to bed right now. So the rest of the day, people, it was a challenging day, right? 12 hours is tough anyway. It really is. A 12 hour, I mean, no matter what you do for a living, if you got to put 12 hours in, you know, you get to 4 hours into the day and you go, duh, now I got to do an entire day's work. So at the 12-hour mark today, the peanut butter hit the fan. If you've never seen like an assembly line that goes really, really fast, assembly line is the wrong word, conveyor belt, that's the word I'm looking for. We basically print newspapers. It's the kind of thing like you see when you get a circular for Kroger or Smith's or whatever the local grocery store is where you live. But they come down the line and they go and they take off in different directions. It's actually, the visual on it is amazing. It's one of the coolest things to watch. Unfortunately, when it doesn't go well, everything sort of backs up really quickly. The paper goes flying and there's no turning this bad boy off, right? It's, you know, it literally goes hundreds of thousands of these things in an hour, right? So over the course of an hour, we might do 500,000 of these pieces of paper. So if it jams even for a few seconds, what happens is just plain ugly. And I'm fairly new at this. And I also am just coming back from that whole little health thing that you all witnessed. But what these people do is when it starts jamming up, they yell stuff and they'll say, oh, no, don't grab that, grab the plow. Okay, where I come from, a plow is on the front of a vehicle and it moves snow out of the way, right? So I'm at least looking for something that might look like a plow. You understand what I'm saying? But as opposed to that, they're just 2 very large wheels. Now, why you wouldn't call those the very large wheels is something else. But instead of that, it's called a plow. I'm new at this. If you would like me to understand what these parts are, perhaps you should train me. The level of frustration, people, and look, I'm willing to chalk some things up. For instance, when you do time in prison, you get this attitude that you're not going to let anybody disrespect you, because if you do, they'll be stealing from you within a couple of days, and what could happen after that is even worse. You know, I mean, really, really bad things happen. I'm going to have to put chat up over here, people, so bear with me for a second. But bad things happen. So because of that, I tend to have a small chip on my shoulder, and I tend to not want to deal with people who yell. And I talked to this guy really nicely today. I said, you know, please, if there's something that I don't know, you can't yell at me for not knowing it, right? I really tried to be page 3. I was not being page 2 Tommy. Like I really set out to sort of practice what I preach. And by the end of the day, it actually kind of worked out, but it was one of those days that was it was tough. And it was 12 hours of it. It was 12 hours of tough, and I got to go and do it again tomorrow. I was really hoping, people, that I was going to have tomorrow available to, I wanted to do a live feed, and I wanted to do a really long one. Like that really was the goal. It's not possible. I am not going to be doing a long live feed tomorrow, which again I was really hoping for. So as opposed to that, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going a little bit longer tonight. You know what, people? Cedar Scoville. Hey, babe. You people know who this is. This is my baby girl. The one who, by the way, is I'm I am quite proud of my daughter. You guys heard on a live feed. She may remember this or may not, but she phoned in during one of the live feeds. So yeah, see, that's you see the father daughter love there. Thank you. But she is actually doing some public speaking in a really cool group that's taking the time to sort of bridge a gap between a couple of different groups of people that traditionally don't get along much. And I can't begin to tell you how proud I am of my daughter. She's in spite of the heckling that she does. Um, she picks on me pretty routinely. So, but I'm very, very proud of her. And it's about that time on a school night, so you should probably be getting off of this live feed and studying something and going to bed anyway. But I do love seeing my kids occasionally pop onto here, people. It's really kind of a cool thing. Saigon Cinnamon says, I am so scared of public speaking. That takes guts. You know something, people? This is an odd statistic, and it really is the truth. Like, you can look this up in different places, and you will see that no matter where you go, this continues. It can't be a lie because you read it everywhere. But according to almost every place that lists phobias, right? The number one phobia in the world is public speaking. How that's possible with spiders on the planet makes no sense to me because I can't even begin to tell you how terrified I am of spiders. And it's a terrible thing to be afraid of because, I'm 200 pounds and you look down at this thing that would require probably, 2 or 300 of them to put on a scale to even register weight. Yet that little thing just has the ability to throw me off of my game in ways that I cannot explain. But anyway, I digress. So public speaking is the number one fear of all people on the planet. Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, used to do a joke about this. He says, number two is death, which means that more people would rather be in the casket than having to stand up and do the eulogy, where you talk about the person who passed away, which I always thought was a great joke. Saigon, I would recommend this, honestly. If public speaking is something that really kind of gives you fits, the best way to get around that, and this was not an option, years ago, but now it most assuredly is to start this way. I didn't. I went the other route. I worked as a public speaker years ago, and I do believe that at some level it's something that you're born with. You can work at being more relaxed in front of people, but if it's stark terror, then getting past that to where you can stand up in front of 400 or 500 people is going to be something that is just and it's uncomfortable to watch. I was in prison and I was in a drug group, and there was 280 people in the unit. Right? There was 180 people in the unit. It was a good sized unit. And every single morning we would come together and we would sit in this, what they call town hall. And they would set up plastic chairs and 180 people would sit there, and they wanted to break down. This is very popular, by the way, in rehab. They wanted to break you down, right? And make you as uncomfortable as you are. The thought process being, if they can make you super uncomfortable, when it comes time to sit in a group and talk about the fact that you did drugs or whatever, you're so relaxed because there's only 15 people in there that no problem, I'll talk here. Just don't make me get up in front of the 180 people again. And I watched this poor guy get up, and he was shaking. I mean, this had to be, far beyond what you would consider a normal phobia, right? He was shaking, and people, I lost it. You know what I mean? I got up and walked to the front of the room. He was supposed to do the word of the day, and when I said to him, "What's the word?" and he like sort of stuttered it out, and I said, "I got you." And he sat down and I did the word of the day, and the instructor was not pleased. I was asked to stick around afterwards, and this was right at Christmas time, and she gave me a song and said, "Tomorrow you will get up and sing this in front of the entire group." This is a true story. So, and the song was "Let It Snow." uh, and here's the thing: I don't care. I mean, if you're willing to get up and talk in front of people, singing in front of people is not that much of a stretch. And I had done musicals. You know, the first time I tried college, I was a theater major. I'm not particularly scared of getting up. So I sang the song, but I wrote a remix and changed all of the words to sing about getting off of drugs and not going into the hood to pick up and things like that. And it was really so I got up and I did it, right? And then I said, "Whoa, whoa!" People clapped. I'm like, "No, no, no! I got a remix. I think you're gonna like the remix more." This made this woman so much more angry. Like, I can't explain it to you. And she called me in the office and she said, "Well, I'm gonna find what makes you uncomfortable." Swear to you, this is a quote. She said, "If you got to get up there and do hula hoops and boxer shorts." I said, where did they teach you this? Like, where did you go to school to become a drug counselor where even threatening to make somebody get up in his boxes and do hula hoop? Like, where are you from? Like, who? Does not make any sense to me. And it is, honestly, it's indicative of the reason that there's a boat. It's indicative of the problem with rehabilitation in the United States. It, in so many ways, is just antiquated stuff that is absolutely stupid, for lack of a better way to put it. It's stupid. And, the whole break somebody down. When you get somebody in a rehabilitation situation where somebody walks in and says, "I'm willing to quit. I have no control over this." You want to break that person down? That you can tell that these people have never been addicted to something. Because when you can stand up and say, "Hey, yeah, right, how dare I be comfortable?" When you can, when you get to that point in your life where you can say, "I'm miserable. I can't live like this." Charlie Mullins, I love you, Charlie. That's from the bottom of my heart. Charlie is just one of those people, you know that? And as I said, I am done. But Charlie was a stud today. He really was. Charlie is a member of this boat. He is crew through and through. I'm telling you, there's not a fiber on that man's body that is not lifeboat crew. And that goes for the rest of you too. But Charlie he was something today. Anyway, when you're down that low and you make the admission that you're powerless over your drug of choice or whatever the substance or habit is, you need to break that person down more. Does that sound barbaric? Is it me? People, the nature of what we do here in terms of lifting people up, right? In terms of celebrating, the fact that Deja Moore was able to overcome an addiction that I promise you is just as real and just as strong as any chemical out there. Deja and I have emailed and texted back and forth a few times, and when I first started talking, she said that she really feels blessed that she never got addicted to drugs, because it's just to her that was just so much more severe. People, you really gotta, and I hammered this home for her too, but it's two-part, right? The first part's irrelevant. It really is. I mean, it's not irrelevant to the person addicted, obviously. If you're addicted to heroin it's why you need to write a goodbye letter. But it's the second component that puts us all in the same boat. So Deja's second component and my second component are identical. They really are. They're identical. There's a process in the brain rewarding you for doing the wrong thing, rewarding you for doing something that goes against your beliefs, for rewarding you for breaking the law, right? In many cases, I promise you, people, that if you spend 5 or 6 years stealing every day, you sell your soul, right? I spent a decade at least stealing every single day and having to steal thousands of dollars worth of stuff, especially before, banks, you steal money. So you walk out of the bank and you can go shopping for drugs. But if you steal anything else, it's that two-part deal. You steal and then you gotta go sell. And you can steal $5,000 worth of stuff from a store and be lucky to get $1,500. So when you start doing the math that you got a $600 a day habit, in 5 or 10 years, do you realize how much stuff you steal? It's staggering. and you have to rotate from store to store, that lifestyle, the craziest part of that is your brain gets to a point where it says, oh yeah, well done, Tommy. You know what I mean? Good job. And you literally start getting chemicals released in your brain that tell you these are the same chemicals, people, the same chemicals that cavemen released in their brain when they lit a fire, when they were able to go out and kill for food, or they were able to go out and gather things that would feed their family. Those same chemicals are being released when you watch porn, or the same chemicals are being released when you gamble, or any of the habits that aren't chemical induced habits. So, for those people who aren't smoking crack or doing methamphetamine or whatever your drug of choice was, for people whose bad habit is indeed just a habit, uh, I don't want anyone to walk away thinking, oh well, they don't have it as bad as we do. They have it exactly as bad as we do. It's the reason that we call this the boat, right? That and the gentleman who was kind enough to help us with that, right? With the good naming. But the reason that we call it that is because we are in the same boat. It doesn't matter whether it's a habit or a drug or a chemical. It's the same thing. The brain is doing what it's not supposed to do. And this, people, is why you don't have to call it a disease. You can call it whatever you want. But two guys in college that do the exact same thing. I mean, they're literally roommates. They go in 50-50 on the drugs that they do. They go in 50-50 on the booze that they drink. They go in 50-50 on everything. Split it down the middle, right? Start freshman year, first day, and they party the exact same way for 4 years. And they both go, yep, it's time to stop doing this now. You know what I mean? I'm engaged, or I got a job or whatever. And one puts it down and the other cannot, to save his life. Is it because he's weak, right? He doesn't have willpower? No. It's because he is in this boat and his friend isn't. That's why there are people out there who abusively drink for 5 or 6 years and then they stop, right? Just, no, I'm done. That is a very different phenomenon than all of us, right? Which is why we're all here, which is why we're all on this boat, because it's not enough to realize that. You need, and I mean truthfully need to have the ability to have people say to you, I get it, right? There is so much power in the phrase, I understand, because the rest of the world simply doesn't. And I'll be really honest with you, they don't want to, right? We're throwaways, people. I'm not saying that to, to make you feel like, oh, well, I have to be here. Be really honest. We are throwaways. I mean, there are 190 people that are going to die from drug overdoses today. On average, right? 190 a day. What's that? 380 people every other day? Or, as I've often said, a 747-400 full of passengers. So, Monday rolls around and a 747 does a nosedive into the dirt, right? Wednesday rolls around and another aircraft crashes. How long do you think the federal government would put up with that? They would shut down air travel completely. And then they would investigate Boeing. They would investigate everybody that has anything to do with it, and they would fix it. If you don't believe that, you're not old enough. Because a similar thing happened with 737s in the 90s. Remember, people? For you old people, the rear fin stabilizer went out. And there were a series of crashes over a short period of time. And that was it, people. They pulled the e-brake. They grounded the entire fleet of 737s in the U.S. until they could figure out what was going on. That's tough on air travel, right? That is a workhorse plane. But they grounded it. Why? Because the people on those planes were considered valuable by the United States of America. We're not. It's the truth. That's why there's a need for a boat. That's why we're here right now, today. Mr. Todd, good to see you. That is why we are here today, because we're all in the same boat, people. And if we don't take care of one another, I'm here to tell you, no one else is going to. And that's sad. The mission here on this boat, and I'm beating a dead horse because you all know this, right? Everybody here knows exactly what the mission of this boat is. But our mission is not just to help as many people get sober as we can, although don't kid yourself, that's what we're trying to do. But our mission here, people, is to make sure that as many people as possibly can come to realize that we're just as valuable as the people on that 727 or that 737 rather, right? We are just as valuable as anybody that goes down in a plane crash. The fact that people are overdosing and people, aside from what we're doing here, there are some movements in the United States that are positive. I end up talking about negative ones all the time because you kind of need to highlight what's going on. But um, Rule 935 or 435, something that was just passed here where I live, um, is really kind of huge. They have made fentanyl test strips, illegal to possess in the state of Nevada. And the reason is there are so many different drugs now that are being cut with fentanyl that they want to give users an opportunity to not die. A few years before that, they changed a law where if you took a syringe and put it into a sharps container that had a sticker on the outside of it, the police could come into your house and find 700 of them. As long as it was in one of those sharps container and it had a sticker on it, you could not be charged with it, even if there was drug residue in every needle, because they don't want everyone dying of AIDS. And if you make the legal thing, and I'm not telling you that, I'm not one of those guys that says, well, we need to make it as easy as possible for addicts to use. That's not what this is about, people. What it's about is taking care of individuals that can't take care of themselves until the time comes when they can. You know what I mean? We're losing far too many people. Fentanyl is, it's Family Guy giggity. Fentanyl is really, especially the synthetic stuff that's coming out of China. People, it's poison. And the most dangerous part of this, hear me, the most dangerous part of this is that it's not just street drugs. They are pressing this stuff into knockoff pills. So if you're somebody out there that's using and you say, well, I'm not into hard stuff, occasionally I buy a couple of Lortabs or I buy some. These people can use fentanyl in really small amounts, and they can press hydrocodone or they can press Dilaudid and make a knockoff pill, like a fake polo shirt. They're making fake drugs, and it looks the part, right? It has the OC on it. It looks exactly like what you normally got from your doctor, only you take this one and the lights are out. The problem with fentanyl, and this is important too, people, there is fentanyl, right? And then there is carfentanil, and they are two very, very different things, right? I mean, night and day. Carfentanil is the one that you hear about that if it touches you, right? Literally, if it touches your hand, it can kill you. That is a different substance than the alpha methyl fentanyl. That drug is what people use. That is the street version of fentanyl. But the trouble with it is it doesn't like being in suspension. Do you understand what I mean? You got a bag of powder this big that you're going to cut with fentanyl. How do you get the fentanyl to distribute itself through that bag evenly? That is known in drug terms as suspension. You want the same small amounts of this drug to touch every little small section of the powder. That way, user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5 all get the same size dose. Unfortunately, that's not happening. Do you understand? It's not. And what ends up happening is you get hot spots where a concentration of the drug is in one spot, and user 5 gets it. That's it. It's over. And this is an epidemic on our streets. The people manufacturing the alpha methafentanyl, they don't care about anybody in the United States. I'm not picking on another country. I'm just being honest. We're faceless. We're nameless. This is just an opportunity for people to make a ludicrous amounts of money. You know, the amount of money that people can make shipping this stuff to the U.S. It is one of the least expensive drugs in the world to produce for them. And they're producing it in absolute record size amounts, and they're sending it over here unbridled. If you're a parent, I don't think you have any idea how easy it is to buy these drugs and get them sent to the United States. The truth of the matter is, you know, people go, well, they're going to get caught at customs. People, do you have any idea how many packages come through customs every single day in the United States? You think that our customs and enforcement people are opening every package? People, they're lucky if they're opening every 1,000th package For real. It's radio opaque. You know what that means, right? If you get an x-ray done, you don't see the skin, right? You see the bone, because the radio waves will go through things that are radio opaque. They will not go through things that are not. So if you x-ray powder, people, it doesn't show up. This is not a gun or a hand grenade. So all of the ways of detecting things, and they're really, honestly, probably rightly so, more concerned about catching, nuclear devices or terrorist equipment. They are not really looking for large amounts of powder. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. And this will shock you, but you can Google this. There are laws in this country that they're not even going to mess with you if the drugs you're ordering in less than a 90-day supply. So you literally can order drugs that you don't have prescriptions for. And many times, if it's less than a 90-day supply, they're just going to let it in. So, knowledge is power. It's the reason that I say, just say no with a K. Parents need to realize exactly what's going on. It really is frightening. This is the world that we, that our kids live in, and that's a nightmare. It's the best thing that you can do, people, is to be a frontline soldier in the war on drugs. The best thing that you can do is to know the world that your kids live in. Too many times, parents bury their head in the sand, and that's frightening. Or, the question that I had the last time we were doing a talk about, about raising drug-free kids. You had all of these people that were saying, what it really boils down to is, they got the DARE program or they've got this program, and they trust the school to go and talk to their kids about drugs for them. It's like a death sentence, people. It really is. It's and they will stand wringing their hands when it's all said and done. But if you don't get involved and you let the school educate your kids about drugs, the regret you're going to feel, God forbid something happens. It really is one of those situations where you absolutely have to step up to the plate. Yeah, you have to. I'm sorry, people. I'm chastising my daughter at the same time that I'm talking to you. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm trying to get the chat pulled up here, but that's not always easy. By the way, people, I am hoping that somebody can tell me, comparing this to what we're doing right now with this live feed, does this look remotely similar in terms of quality to what I normally do? As I said, I have bypassed the software. I've really kind of bypassed all that software. Right now, what I've done is I've gone through the back office, so to speak, at YouTube, and I'm using my Studio app to go live. I'm hoping that that this isn't going to damage in terms of quality. So, can I get a 5x5? Are we as good right now as? Good night, kid. I love you, and I will be probably texting you here shortly. Love my daughter. How does this compare, people? Are we fairly good? Let's see here. Perfect quality, Hunter Haas says. So I'm guessing that, okay, good. I was really not happy. I paid for Streamlabs. I'm not even running the free service of it. And that is, that is probably the worst of it. Is that, and I pay, the reason that you pay, you can do it for free, but I am buying at the ability to lock this on so that if you lose signal, they've got sort of this backup plan. Showed you how well that worked today, didn't it? And then on top of that, the black box thing is frustrating, but as long as the picture quality of what I'm doing right now is good, this is probably the route I'm going to go from here on out. This is, it seems to go better. Jesse Simpson, I love you too, bud. I really do. And all of you, I have if you knew the affection that I have for all of you on this boat, it's it really is almost it's almost overwhelming, um, especially since, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, people, but since you really started taking ownership and started to really get involved, things have changed. When you started to, the audio is great. Chili Mancer, so good to see you here, man. Love that guy. And if you've never gone by his channel, people, you want to talk about a guy that's creative. Seriously, he's a genius. If I had half of the skill that that man has, what the things that he does, the production value that he does is just staggering. Chili Mancer is absolutely great stuff. Um, no, Chili Mancer is in the U.S. and stop trying to lay claim to him. We're not letting him go to Australia. He's a he is a national treasure here in the U.S. We're not letting him go. But so, because of how we started this, people, I really do want to hammer home just how proud I am of Deja Moore's and that letter. All of the letters that have come in have been amazing, and they all take courage. I'm not taking anything away from any of the other letters, but because of the particular subject matter. It really is I mean, that's epic. And it's going to touch a lot of lives, which is probably, the part for me that is, the coolest part, is the fact that, when you step out of your comfort zone, people, and you talk about something as personal as that, uh, the rewards that you get, honestly, they outweigh all of the, it still does require you hopping wildly outside. It's not stepping outside your comfort zone. It's jumping outside your comfort zone. And I can't thank all of you enough. I've got so many of them right now sitting and waiting, like sort of in the can. You're going to see an awful lot of. What does that say? Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch these as they're going up. You know that's what I am the worst at, people. But I'm getting better. Well, I'm not, but I'm going to try. Jack is coming down next week with some equipment that he assures me is going to make this really easy. Apparently, I'm going to have a screen over here that's just really big and somewhat idiot proof, so that when I look over, it's going to be a whole lot easier. But I appreciate the fact that everybody has put up with my shortcomings in terms of the audio visual end of things. That it's certainly not my strong suit. Mark has done amazing things to help me, so that I'm at least, I don't know, passable at trying to look like it's not my first time every time I do anything online. But the truth of the matter is, people, I'm awful at this. So I appreciate your patience. Like I've said a million times, the message is great. I think everybody can agree that the message here is awesome. The platform, the boat is great. You people are fantastic. As far as, sorry, people, but as far as putting together the rest of it, I've got issues. I really do. But we're growing, right? I think that what will be fun is, 4 or 5 years from now, when you could say, oh man, if you could have seen how bad his live feeds were when he started, those are the kind of things that over time people get a kick out of, and that's worth it. I do need LASIK eye surgery, just for the record. The glasses are they're annoying at best, but I've actually toyed around with the concept. The problem with LASIK, I think, is that it tends to work a lot better. From my understanding is that it tends to work a lot better at distance than it does. I really only need the glasses for reading glasses, my problem though is that the reading glasses seem to wear out. You know what I mean? Like you buy a pair and 6-8 months later, the strength isn't as good as they were. They wear out and you got to buy another one. And they keep getting thicker, and getting old is no fun, people. If there's I don't recommend it. I really don't. It's unfortunately it is part of the game, but and I'm sorry about my stuffed up nose, people. It was an issue yesterday, and it is an issue today. And as disgusting as it is, I am probably going to have to blow my beak. I just missed it. Hold on. I'm sorry, people. I really am. I know that that's disgusting, but he shoots, he scores. I know that that's disgusting, but it's one of those things that you do have to do from time to time. I am definitely not 100%. Jesse Stinson says, "Here's my question: what's the most amazing place you've ever been, and why?" You know what? Here's the deal. That's a fun question. Um, I'm gonna answer that, and I think that this is cool. This is so I was in Utah, and I was still skiing. For those of you who don't know my history, I skied and was pretty good at it. I skied in a way most people don't. I did some pro competition, and I did inverted aerials. I did a lot. I was a very good skier. I really was. It was something that I was. My parents put me on skis before they made kid skis. Literally, my father would take a hacksaw and he would cut down a pair of adult skis, which is funny because skis are supposed to have camber, right? But he would just cut the front of a pair of skis, mount bindings on them, and I would go out and go skiing, and did it from a very young age. So I was in Utah, and I was long in the tooth. I was old to be doing the kind of skiing I was doing. But what I was doing was skiing very extreme terrain, and I was getting paid to do it, usually for photo shoots. Like you would go up and put on a bunch of North Face clothing, and you see them in magazines, and it will just say skier, but it won't have a name. So skier one is wearing a North Face bib, and he's wearing this, this, and this. Well, we agreed to do a run called the Y Couloir. The term couloir refers to, I mean, the easy way to think of it is there's no way to get there except hiking up it. So whatever you're skiing down, you just hiked up. You follow me? You can't get there by lift. You can't get there by helicopter. You can't get there any other way. And there's no way to climb a ridge. You're going to climb straight up. You're going to ski straight down. And it was called the Y Couloir because as you get to the top of this very, very steep, narrow, like little ravine kind of thing between two rocks, maybe at its widest point 60 feet, which sounds wide till you're going like 45 miles an hour straight down and turning toward the rocks. And then that's a very, very narrow 60 feet. But as we got to the top, it Y's off and you pick either the right or the left side of the Y. Right? It looks just like a Y. So we started hiking in the middle of the night for a photo shoot that we were going to do at about 11 o'clock in the early morning, so just before noon. And there was three of us. When we got to the top part of the Y Couloir, my friend and I went to the left, and my friend Wally went to the right. He was a snowboarder, we were skiers, and we had headsets on so that we could communicate back and forth because poor Wally is now alone, but that's the way he wanted to go. People, what happened is about 4 hours into the hike, it started to snow. And it started to snow like it only does in Utah, like flakes this big. And we were probably getting an inch to 2 inches of snow an hour, which is dumping, right? Nuking. It's coming down really, really hard then. And the visibility was nil. So these people are set up a couple of 100 yards away with a telephoto lens on the other side of a street. There is no chance they're photographing us. So when we were almost to the top, it's so gray. It's like my shirt, right? It's just almost white out. You can't hear, you can't smell, you can't, see. Everything just sort of has you socked in. And the next thing you know, people, we took 2 more steps and we were above the clouds. So with all of this just ugliness and snow and everything just coming down, as far as the eye could see was the gray, but what we were seeing was blue sky and sun. And it was silent because of how thick the clouds were. You couldn't hear anything. And nowhere in my life had I ever been anywhere near anything that was that cool. Not even close. It was like hanging out in God's house. You know what I mean? We were literally, and so you could, we're looking in as far as the eye can see, right at eye level is just this gray, and you could drop your head down like this, and it's just snowing as hard as you've ever seen. And you pop your head back up, and it's blue sky and sunny. So we hiked about another 6 or 7 feet, and it was like sitting on a magic carpet, right? You felt like you were sitting on top of this gray carpet of ugly, right? Just like this, except darker. And uh, they called from the radio, and the guy said, is it how bad is it snowing up there? We said, well, 6 feet below us, it's snowing pretty badly, but where we're at right now, it's blue skies. And I don't think they understood what we were saying. And the guy on the microphone, on the headset, who is literally by now a mile and a half away, but 200 yards from where the the cool yar starts, right? He's set up with a tripod on the side of the road. And he said, we're not going to get good shots. I don't even know that they're going to be usable, but this is as light as the snow has been since it started. You should probably go now. And I looked at the guy I was with. His name is Jay. And I go, what do you think? He goes, there's no way. I said, you don't think they'll be able to see us? He goes, I don't think I'm leaving here. What are the odds that in life ever again you're going to be above the clouds looking down at a storm? And the sad thing is that because of how the Y was, I could talk to my friend Wally, but I couldn't see him. And that's the coolest place I've ever been. No two ways about it. That experience was the coolest that I ever had in my life. It was magic. Unfortunately, Wally overdosed on heroin the following year and died. And the incredible thing about that was I never knew he used, and I don't think he knew I did. We hung out all the time, and he would say, toward the end of the day, I had a very legitimate job. I was working at the time running a publicly traded company, but he just kind of thought I was a square that could ski, and I just didn't really hang out with snowboarders. Not that I had anything against them, but we just, we only hung out when we went up to the mountain, and we spent a decent amount of time together that way. But toward the end of the day, he'd always go, yeah, I got something I got to go do. And amazingly, we were probably both sneaking off to go do heroin. But at the Cliff Lodge in Utah, in a suite that had a couch, he nodded out and fell and got into the couch cushions and just suffocated. He was so messed up on the dope that, as very often happens, didn't even roll over, to catch his breath. It's a respiratory depressant. And, fentanyl is the worst, by the way, of respiratory depressants, but it just slows down your breathing until it stops. And that's the nature of the beast. This is why we tell our kids that, opiates, respiratory depressant, benzodiazepines, respiratory depressant, alcohol, respiratory depressant. You can go down the whole list. And so oftentimes people mix the three. And if you mix the three, your odds of death are exponentially worse than if you had just picked one. Unfortunately, if you add alcohol, 1 + 1 = 3, the equation, I've gone over this, 1 ounce of alcohol triples the effect of the pills. So if you've taken a sleeping pill and you've taken a tranquilizer and you've taken a painkiller, then you wind up being Philip Seymour Hoffman, or you wind up being Heath Ledger. In both cases, these are individuals who were taking multiple respiratory depressants to get high. And Prince, the list goes on forever of how many people have been mixing those. And right now it's considered by many in the US to be the buzz of choice, to take some Valium or to take some Xanax and mix it with pain meds. And you are rolling the dice. Even if the pain meds that you get aren't spiked, and you're not getting a knockoff fentanyl pill, but even if you're just taking Loratab, you're taking Loratab and Valium, you really are throwing your respiration on the wheel. It's just it's a risk that's so not worth it. It really is. I like my cake dehydrated. While we're on cakes, people, if anyone ever can explain to me the whole he wants his cake and wants to eat it too. It never made any sense to me. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. Is there like a long list of things that people do with cake other than eating it? Where did that whole expression come from? I should probably look up the etymology behind that and try to figure out exactly where that comes from, because that is just one of the dumbest expression that I have ever heard. Uh-oh. Chili Mancer says, I have some info on this. By the way, people, if the Chili Mancer says he has info on this, you can pretty much bet the farm that he does. He is one of those individuals that the real expression is what got the Unabomber caught. Are you messing with me, Chili Master? The real expression is what got that's fascinating. Elucidate. Tell me exactly where this is going, because that is fascinating. And if it's a super, super long story, he is not messing with me. Okay, so make me understand this. And if it's way too long, then you have to email it to me, and the two of us can come on and do a show about it. But if it's something that you can explain, I would really like to hear this. Because I find, I mean, that phrase is just ridiculous. By the way, he is in a place called ADX in the Unabomber, ADX in Florence, Colorado. And I was actually in the Supermax in Florence, Colorado. I mean, the Maximum, the Supermax was across the street, but I was at that same compound, and they rotate the guards through. He was upset with the phrase because he said it was actually, he wants to eat his cake and have it too. Oh, and he wrote it down or something, and they tracked it back to him that way? He wants to eat his cake and have it. That actually makes more sense. But goes to show you, you never know how they're gonna trip you up. That man has been in ADX where he is just in solitary and is going to spend the rest of his life there. And here's the thing, when you start talking about